And court correspondent Joseph Akable is there. He is monitoring proceedings. We'll bring you up to speed in our subsequent bulletins. But earlier, he reported of high security presence at the court. Obviously, this is a very important case for the political parties especially. And so we are there and we'll tell you what happens subsequently. You just want to stay with us. But we'll do some politics. And Member of Parliament for Kwadaso in Kumasi, Dr. Samiu Nuamah, has joined the list of incumbent legislators Vincent Frimpong Menu, the Deputy Chief Executive of the Middle Belt Development Authority, managed 42 votes. Elections had to be postponed to Wednesday after delegates challenged the voter register being used for the election. And now, Jima, what's in the constituency and our reports?
So, I declare Dr. Kingsley Nyakun as the parliamentary candidate-elect for Kwadaso Municipal. Thank you.
World Jubilations welcomed announcement of Dr. Kingsley Nyakun as parliamentary aspirant for the Kwadaso constituency for the New Patriotic Party. Supporters carried him shoulder high, disregarding all protocols of COVID-19. Even journalists were in breach as they struggled to get an interview with the winner after the declaration. Amidst the breach, Dr. Nyakun managed to speak.
They believe that I'm the person who will be able to ensure that the NPP becomes a very attractive party in the constituency and by extension in the region. I'm convinced and persuaded that it me at the helm of affairs with support from my other competitors, Dr. S.K. Nuamah and Mr. Vincent Menu, we will be able to work together in unity and in peace for the benefits of the constituents, the benefits of the region, and for the benefit of the nation.
The constituency, after being carved out of the Bantima constituency, has always fallen for NPP. It is known for changing its aspirants. Madam Hilda Addo is first MP for the constituency. She served for one term. A Greek minister, Dr. Ousted did 2 terms before losing his re-election bid to now incumbent Dr. Nuamah. Ahead of Wednesday's election, the voters' album had become a subject of controversy as names of some delegates were missing. Here is NPP Regional Youth Organizer who led a 3-member committee to resolve the issue.
We all came to the conclusion that all the 172 that were initially expunged from the 2013 album be left out. And then those that were used to replace them were also left out of the election. Anybody who has died over time, anyone who has traveled out of the constituency, and one other person who defected from the NPP to NDC were all excluded from the album. So I believe that there's a bit of calm as we see this morning. Nobody is raising any alarms.
Most delegates who were unable to find their names in the register decided to let go for the sake of peace in the party. We have loved for ourselves at Kwadaso. We understand democracy. These are small internal issues.
Misunderstanding after this election, we shall come together as one.
So, my friends, polling station chairman. Me polling center.
I am a polling station chairman. This man is my secretary. He traveled for some time and has returned, but we are all missing from the album. There was heavy police and military presence in the constituency to monitor the process. They were called to action when a confrontation ensued just before polls closed at Apatrapa polling station between supporters of the incumbent and the eventual winner. From Kumasi for JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
We're joined on the phone by the Secretary of the NPP for the Ashanti region, Sam Pine. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Newsdesk. So you have as many as 42 incumbents losing their seats, during the primaries, a lot of them from the Ashanti region. How is the region taking steps to ensure that you indeed unite your front before the December polls?
Yeah, thank you very much. And it's an important fact to talk about, and it's also a matter for the party to consider. Yes, we lost about 11 sitting MPs, including what you just talked about, Kwadaso. And we, as a party, see the need to make sure that we are united and move forward with a common purpose. That's why we have now our reconciliation and arbitration committee in place to look at places that we have disagreements, we have other issues that we need to settle. And therefore, as a party, we're not sitting down, we're not looking at it as a non-issue, but taking it into consideration as a very important matter for us to discuss.
And so where have you started from and who have you been engaging?
Yeah, last Sunday we started with about 4 conferences. I believe in Komina, Kwadaso East, yes, the Kwai, and so the committee has started with the first meeting was on Sunday, and because of some engagements in Accra, most of the members have come, and I know this weekend they continue with the process.
You mentioned Bekwai, and there's an interesting situation there. We know that the first deputy speaker, Joe Osei, was not contested, and we understand that one of the disqualified aspirants is going independent. We also know that the party is engaging him, like you mentioned. What can you report on that engagement so far? Well, we seem to have lost Mr. Pine on the line. We'll try and raise him back to find out what is happening as far as the party's engagement with the aspirant. Mr. Pine, thank you very much. We lost you briefly on the line. You mentioned Bekwai, and I was saying that there's a peculiar situation there because one of the disqualified aspirants is going independent. I'm wondering what the engagement has been so far. Does it look like he will rescind his decision?
Well, I've not engaged the committee yet, and they've also not submitted the process because giving them about 5 weeks to work on some of these matters. So if I get inside, then I can talk about it properly. But I know that yes, as a party, we're making sure that wherever that we think there are issues, we discuss that. We are not looking at only where people are said they'll go independent or not now. We're looking at also places where during the campaign you have squabbles, you have people talking against each other. There are other places that you had consensus officers divided. You have people following publicly some aspirants, and therefore there's a need to bridge these gaps and make sure that yes, we go as a united party with a common purpose.
But also there were those who flouted the rules. Are you applying sanctions?
Which of the rules are you talking about?
So, for instance, we know that there were some who invoked curses on constituency executives.
Yeah, we started the process. In some of the constituencies, for instance, about service who have been suspended. We had a list of those that we are going to deal with. With Ofinsu and Komina and Asukwa, yes, we are going to deal with all of that. We want to instill discipline within the party, and therefore people are not going to get off the hook.
Is there the opportunity to mitigate some of these sanctions, especially when you want to bring everybody on board?
It depends on mitigation. Depends on the demeanor of the people who were involved. If you come to the committee and truly you see that yes, you thought it was wrong, and therefore you have apologies, better. But if you come and you still recalcitrant, definitely mitigation would be considered.
So you must show remorse, and then that would inform the decision of the committee.
That's why these are the reasons why people are suspended and they are brought back. If you are suspended, we look at your conduct over that period. Are you doing what is right? Are you talking about what the party wants you to do, going by the regulations and the rules of the party? All of these come into play, and therefore, if you go on suspension, you're coming back is considered along these lines.
Do you have any outstanding, elections in the region as far as the constituencies are concerned, or you have everything over and done with?
We have 47 constituencies in Ashanti. We did 3 of constituencies last year, and we've done 44 constituencies with sitting MPs. So we're done with the 47.
Now, as the campaign starts, even though you are starting with the reconciliation and all of the unity effort, what is the target for the region? It's always been a stronghold of the NPP, but I hear the aspirants say that this time we want to push up the numbers, we want to shore it up. What is the target for the region?
I wouldn't want to discuss the targets now, but I know that the seats in the region that aiming at 47, 47. And we also want to push our presidential percentage much higher. But you see, when you are in general, you don't disclose your arsenal to your opponent. If I tell them that I have 10 bazookas and 27 AK-47s, definitely you know the person is going to go in for about 30 bazookas and 100 AK-47. So we are holding that to our chest, but we are also looking at pushing our percentage presidential higher than we did in the last election.
I want to thank you very much. That is Sampan. He's the secretary for the Ashanti region, NPP, and he joined us with some updates on moves by the party to unite their front ahead of the 2020 polls, and also some measures they're taking with respect to the primaries that happened over the weekend. The last one being held yesterday at Kwadaso, increasing the number of incumbents who have lost in that primaries, who have lost their tickets essentially to 42. That's from 41 to 42. But news just coming in, the court granted the NDC's relief 2 and 3, but in given the order, it said the exercise should take place in compliance with CI 91 and 126 as amended, and that is flowing from the Supreme Court's determination on whether or not the Electoral Commission, first of all, has the mandate to compile a voters register and also to use the birth certificate and the existing voters ID as proof of identification. My colleague Joseph Akable, who is in the courts, joins us on the line with details. Joseph, if you can break this down for us, what does it mean if the reliefs 2 and 3 were granted by the courts? So if you're joining us now, news just coming in is that the Supreme Court has granted the NDC's relief 2 and 3, but in given the order, it said that the exercise should take place in compliance with CI 91 and 126 as amended, and I'm talking about the voter registration exercise slated for June 30 by the Electoral Commission. You know that the NDC is in court over a number of issues. They're first of all challenging the authority, as it were, of the Electoral Commission to compile a new voters register, but also critically, as far as the identification or proof of nationality is concerned, the NDC's argument is that the EC should accept the existing voters ID as proof of identification and also a birth certificate, because for them, many will be disenfranchised if we are to stick to the National Identification Authority, the Ghana card, and also the passport, which for them, many Ghanaians do not, hold, and that will amount to disenfranchising quite a good number of Ghanaians who are eligible for this. Let's go onto the phone lines now. Joseph Akable joins us with details. Joseph, if you can give us some more on the ruling of the court today. We're taking a break here on Newsdesk to bring you more after this break. Stay with us.